May it be your will, God, my God, and the God of my ancestors, that you guide my eyes to the light of your Torah and save me from stumbling and making mistakes. For God gives wisdom, and from God's mouth comes knowledge and understanding. Amen.
We are at the last parasha of the week of Sefer Bereshit. So yesterday we finished the book of Bereshit, and Parashat Vayechi is what sums up the parasha. In fact, Sefer Bereshit has a lot of stories, and we try to interpret them through different means to see how these stories have been placed. But in Parashat Vayechi, what happens is there are two. Let's look at the summary of Parashat Vayechi, and then we will see that there is not much that we can really discuss in terms of the pshat.
First, Aliyah, Yaakov lived his last 17 years in Egypt. When Yaakov sensed that he was nearing his death, he summoned Yosef and asked him to promise that he would bury him in the land of Canaan. Yosef acceded to the request. When Yaakov then fell ill, Yosef visited him, accompanied by his sons Manasseh and Ephraim. Yaakov adopts Manasseh and Ephraim as his own sons. Second, Aliyah, Yosef presents his two sons to be blessed, placing Manasseh, the firstborn, to Yaakov's right and Ephraim to Yaakov's left. Yaakov crossed his hands, placing his right hand on Ephraim's head and left on Manasseh, and blessed them. Third, Aliyah, Yosef was disturbed that Yaakov placed his right hand on Ephraim and he attempted to adjust his father's hands. Yaakov responded that he too will be great, but younger brother will be greater. Yaakov blessed the two boys further, saying that all of Israel will bless, invoking their name. May Hashem make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. Fourth, Aliyah, Yaakov summoned all his sons and blessed each one with a poetic parting personal message. Reuben was chastised for his impetuousness. Shimon and Levi were rebuked for their anger, which expressed itself in the killing of the residents of Shechem. Judah was blessed with monarchy, success in waging battle, and an abundance of wine and milk in his portion. Zebulun was blessed with success in his sea trade endeavors. Jacob likened Issachar to a thick-boned donkey who finds serves. Dan was blessed with the ability to judge.
There is a mistake over there. Who finds services? Probably. Let me see what is that some typo has crept in. Yaakov likened Issachar to a thick-boned donkey. Let us look at that. Issachar is a strong-boned ass crouching among the sheepfolds. When he saw how good was security and how pleasant was the country, he bent his shoulder to the burden and became a toiling serf. So what should that be? Issachar is a thick-boned donkey who finds pleasure in service. Maybe that is what it is. Dan was blessed. Yeah, continue.
Dan was blessed with the ability to judge. Fifth, Aliyah. Gad was blessed with bravery in battle. Asher's blessing was abundance. Naphtali was blessed with the speed of a deer. Joseph was recognized for his charm and righteousness in suffering and was showered with a variety of blessings. Sixth, Aliyah. Benjamin was likened to a devouring wolf. Jacob then repeated his request to be buried in Israel in the cave of Machpelah in Hebron, and he passed away at the age of 147. After an extended national mourning, After an extended national mourning period, Joseph received Pharaoh's permission to carry Yaakov's body up to Israel. A huge funeral procession consisting of all the elders of Egypt as well as Yaakov's family went and buried Yaakov. After returning to Egypt, Joseph's brothers feared that now, after Yaakov has passed away, Joseph would exact revenge from them for selling him into slavery. Joseph reassured them that he harbored no ill feelings towards them. 7th Aliyah. Joseph lived until the age of 110. Before passing away, he told his brothers that Hashem would eventually take them out of Egypt and return them to the promised land. Joseph asked his brothers to promise that when that time arrived, they would carry his remains with them and enter him in Israel.
He'll be buried in Israel. Okay. So this is the parasha. The meat of the parasha is the blessings, which is a poetry, sort of. So I just selected the first line of this chapter 49, where it starts into the poetry. Jacob called for his sons and said, "Gather and I will tell you what will happen to you at the end of days." Vaikra Yaakov el banav vayomer. He'aspu ve'agida lachem et asher ikra etchem be'acharit hayamim. And then it says, "Gather and listen, sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel, your father. Ikabsu ve'shim'u bene Yaakov. Gather and listen, children of Yaakov, ve'shim'u, and listen, el Israel avichem, to Israel, your father." So we have sort of a, what is the word? A repetition of it, right? A parallel line. Can anybody point out if there are any differences in these two verses? What the verses are trying to say? Or can you catch something in these verses? The first two verses where this whole thing starts.
His name is first he said Jacob and then he's saying Israel, the father. That name, two names.
But in the same line, that is, gather, listen, sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel.
Yeah.
But that keeps on happening. We have paid attention to that earlier also, right?
לפי what I see here, I read in Hebrew, so...
No, you don't have to answer. 1 minute. Oh. Let us try everybody. I know you have the answer.
I'm not sure,
Regina,
but okay.
I know you have the answer.
Okay.
Regina has the answer because she knows the Rashi, And the way Rashi works is, because there is a question that he has, he gives you a comment. Okay? So we will go to Regina in a minute, but I'll ask everybody else to pay attention to what is bothering Rashi. That is how you study Rashi. You have to ask, what is bothering Rashi? Why does he make a comment over
there? Yaakov
yes,
Avinu, he's calling his sons so that he will tell them what will happen in the end of days. Okay?
Yes.
And down it's written, I will call to God, okay, the Gadol Ha'elyon, okay? אקרא לאלוהים עליון, and they say it's in Rosh Hashanah, לקהל שגומר עליי. And Rashi, what he's saying here, we are talking about Yaakov Avinu. When he's Yaakov, the Shekhinah is not with him. Okay? And when he wanted to tell his sons, the Shekhinah...
That is not what Rashi says, in fact.
No, that's not what Rashi is saying.
That is not what Rashi says, that when he is Yaakov, the Shekhinah is not with him. That is not true.
No.
Because we know that when he was Yaakov, he got the dreams. He got the dream of the ladder when he was Yaakov. He keeps on getting angels and information when he is with Laban, when his name is still Yaakov. So he certainly gets divine influence and prophecy when he is Yaakov. But you are right. There is
But
a discrepancy over there.
so
If
from
I
what
can.
I saw,
Hold on. We are not going into that still. You are already jumping into the Rashi. We are still on the first part. We are on the first part of what is the difference between the first sentence and the second sentence. Let the whole thing.
Yaakov el banav, okay?
Yeah.
Gather, and I will tell you what will happen with you in the last of days. Okay?
Yeah.
And he tells them, come and listen, sons of Yaakov, and listen to Israel, Avichem. So this, he is referring for himself one thing as their father as Yaakov, and also Israel that he is their father. Okay?
Right. That is his second name, right?
Yeah, and Yaakov, as we already you have told us, and that we know that Yaakov is the one who always going through here and there. He may have many ways to get from what he wants. And Israel is one who's going straight, Yashar, with Hashem. He's going straight with God. Okay? So you sons of Yaakov come and listen to Israel, the one who goes with God, and I will tell you. And then he starts to tell everyone.
Oh, hold on, we have not still figured out. From what you tell me, you have still to figure out why is Rashi making a comment over there.
Yeah,
okay,
but
you know Rashi's comment. You try to say that comment. I want you to hold on to the hot seat. But everybody,
can I try?
There is somebody would like to try again.
Yeah. I think the first line, Rabbi, this David. Yeah. So first
David,
time in the first sentence, it's I will tell. I will tell. I will tell. So basically, somebody who is telling, and the second line is saying you listen to Yaakov. So the first one is more of I telling, but he's not mentioning that Yaakov is going to tell or Israel is going to tell. It's I is going to tell.
We are
missing
the elephant in the room. We are missing the elephant in the room.
Actually, when he refers, listen to what Israel, your father Israel is telling you. It's like he's talking about someone else, but it is himself.
True. He is referring to himself in the third person. That is how he, What is the first line, right? So first line is Yaakov called for his sons and said, gather and I will tell you what will happen to you at the end of days. What is he saying? Am I going to bless you?
No.
Is he saying I'm going to bless you? No. He's saying, gather and I will tell you what is going to happen at the end of days. But the second line after that is gather and listen. Again, it is the same thing, right? It is a parallel words. Gather and listen, sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel, your father. Gather and listen. And he is now referring sons of Jacob. Gather and listen to Israel, your father, as if he is in the third person now, right? If you read the Hebrew, in fact, you see that the first verse is, let me come to that in a minute, but the main difference is the first verse says, I will tell you what will happen to you at the end of days, which is missing in the second verse. That is where Rashi selects his midrash. And Rashi says, where it says Agida Lachem in the yellow portion, right? The yellow portion. So Rashi, based on Genesis Rabbah 98:2, he says, Bikesh legalot et hakes ve nistalkah shechina mimenu. The comment on, and I will tell you, what I will tell you, the end of days, right? The comment Rashi makes to that is he attempted to reveal the end, but the Shekhinah withdrew from him. So he began to say other things. Okay? That is Rashi's comment. If you can zoom into the second one, this I didn't find a translation for it. But this is Genesis Rabbah 98:1. This is the first Midrash in the same set of Midrashim. Okay? In Genesis Rabbah. That is Bereshit Rabbah. On the Tehillim, Ekra le'Elohim Elyon beRosh Hashanah. La'el gomer alai beyom HaKippurim. That is what they are making a drash. Ekra le'Elohim Elyon is this talking about Rosh Hashanah. La'el gomer alai is talking about Yom Kippurim. Leda eze l'Hashem ve'eze le'Gezerah. Gezerah eze l'Hashem ve'eze le'Azazel. You know, that is the Yom Kippurim famous scapegoat ritual. So Leda eze l'Hashem ve'eze le'Gezerah. Gezerah is what is the punishment, or what has been decided on you. Davar acher. And then there is one more interpretation of this Tehillim. Ekra le'Elohim Elyon. Ekra le'Elohim Elyon goes on. Ze Yaakov Avinu. This is talking about Yaakov Avinu. La'el gomer alai שהסכים הקדוש ברוך הוא עמו ליתן לכל אחד ואחד לפי מה שהוא. So here La'el gomer alai goes on explaining that God agreed with Yaakov Avinu to give each one the interpretation of whatever he was about to achieve. Okay? Mashehu, whatever he was.
Oh,
Is that right translation? Is my translation fine?
You can say also that he
Yeah.
will give each one and one by what he is.
Yeah.
Because when he
Right.
starts on Reuven, first he tells him,
But what do you mean?
wrong.
Give each one and one his scheme, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. What is his scheme? Either he is his
agreed.
scheme, he agrees to what? That Yaakov is wanting to give you the information about the end of days. So he agrees to giving him the information, which is giving him the nevuah, or he agrees that whatever Yaakov will say will happen and come true. So he agrees whatever Yaakov is going to mention is, which means Yaakov has nevuah, and he reveals the nevuah to them, and Hashem is going to bring it to happen. Which means what? We have two contradictory midrashim, out of which Rashi selects the first midrash. Why does Rashi select the first midrash? Because he has a problem with the words, right? The way Rashi read the words, and not only Rashi, other Chachamim also, they see that the first verse is saying, gather and I will tell you and what will happen to you at the end of days. And the next verse says, gather and listen, sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. What happened to the end of days? Oh, end of days got gone missing. So it should be explained. And how is it explained? By, we have a tradition, the tradition which is sitting here in Genesis Rabbah 98:2. But there is a tradition in 98:1. So nobody studies the tradition in 98:1 because everybody studies Rashi. Very few people go to Midrash and study the Midrash. But we have two traditions. Now that we have a conflicting tradition, right? Was it revealed to Yaakov or was it not revealed to Yaakov? Where will you find it?
From what you gave us from Midrash Rabbah, okay, from what I understood.
No, you will find it in the Tanakh. You continue reading the story.
Yeah, in the Tanakh.
You continue reading the story, you will see if we have any mention of Acharita Yamim or we don't have any mention of Acharita Yamim, right or wrong?
Right.
That is where is the litmus test. The test is there. Is Rashi's version is working with the first two sentences, right? Now, I will also tell you one additional point. See, if you read the first sentence, it is in prose. And the second sentence, although I brought it in the same box, but the second sentence is really the beginning of his discourse. So you will see that it is in poetry. So the first line is, come, gather, sons of Jacob, gather, and I will tell you what will happen. And I'll tell you what happens in the end of days. But the second one, Hikbetsu v'shim'u b'nei Yaakov v'shim'u el Israel avichem. That is a song already. That is in poetry. And then it goes, the whole thing is continuous. So the second verse really doesn't go with the first verse. The second verse goes with the third verse. But I purposely, the reason why I brought the number one and number two together is because the second oratory. So I was saying the first verse is a prose, and he calls his kids. Once his kids have gathered, then he repeats that line, but it is in poetry. Gather and listen, sons of Jacob, listen to Israel, your father, which is the introduction of his oratory. Okay, now let's go into his oratory. I didn't bring the whole thing down because we won't have the time for it. But before we go into his oratory, I just wanted to pay attention to the second midrash. Where is it coming from? Because we really didn't have any introduction to what that midrash was doing. So here it is. למנצח אל תשחט לדוד מכתם בבורחו מפני שאול במערה. For the conductor or for the leader, whoever is the musician, right? The musical conductor. Al tashchet, probably that's a musical instrument. Who is sitting on a tashchet? Al tashchet of David or
לא להשחית מבחינה של השחתה, מבחינה של לקלקל,
that is not the original. That is how we understand it. But really, all the mikhtam ledavid lamnatseach are musical instruments. They are all musical instruments. Yes. We have lost traditions. What are the original musical instruments? So you will see lamnatseach al hasheminit mizmor. What is the sheminit? Something which has 8 strings. That is how it is. Al tashchet is on a tashchet. We don't know what the tashchet musical instrument is, but he is sitting on a tashchet. So this song was made up by David to a music which goes on a tashchet. Although Hebrew has another understanding of the word tashchet, but that is the later understanding of it. Okay, so tashchet le David michtam. So sometimes it is michtam le David. It is sometimes le David michtam. Another michtam is another word for a composition. What kind of a composition it is? Anyway, coming to the main part of the song, Shaul when he was running away from King Saul, who was trying to kill him, and he fled from Saul into a cave, and he hid in a cave. And we know the story, in the cave, he was just about to be caught, and there was a spider that closed the mouth of the cave. So probably that is when he was hiding inside, and he was expecting now the soldiers are going to walk in and get him. And that's how tense the situation was from King David's perspective. And then he was praying to God, and this is what he prayed. This was a song he prayed. Have mercy on me, O God. Have mercy on me, for I seek refuge in you. I seek refuge in the shadow of your wings until danger passes. Choneni Elohim, choneni, ki becha hasaya nafshi, ubetzel kenafecha yachse ad ya'avor hawot. Call to God Most High, ve'ekra le Elohim Elyon, to God who is good to me. La'el gomer alai. Now in modern Hebrew, that gomer alai will really sound very, very negative, but La'el gomer alai means the God who makes me complete, or makes me shalem, or makes me, fixes me. Okay? So this is the verse really. Ekra le Elohim Elyon, La'el gomer alai. We see it in other psalms also. Call to the God Most High to God who is good to me. And then he goes on to say, Ishlach mishamayim, send down from heaven, vayoshieni cheref shoafi sela. He will reach down from heaven and deliver me. God will send down his steadfast love. Ishlach Elohim chasdo amito. So, I mean, in the translation, it goes up and down because they just want to make sense. But my persecutor reviles is deliver me. And so, Vayoshieni, you save me from Cheref Shoafi, Sela. That Cheref Shoafi is my persecutor, the person who is running after me, Shoef, who is trying to catch up with me,
Who wants do me bad?
do me bad, right? To really kill me. That is what the Shoef is trying to do, and he takes down the Shoef. He takes down his enemy. So God will send down his steadfast love. That is the last verse. Now, this is only the beginning of the psalm. I didn't bring the whole psalm, but the main line is, there is one line over here which David writes, Ekra le Elohim Elyon, I call to the God Most High, to God who is going to complete me, right? On these verses, what we saw is the Midrash. The second Midrash, I'm going to again move this phone straight so you can read it. So, in the first case, the first interpretation is what is Ekra le Elohim Elyon? Ekra le Elohim Elyon is like Rosh Hashanah. La'el Gomer Alai is like Yom Kippur. Why are they comparing to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Because you see, in Rosh Hashanah, what is motivating me to really pray to Hashem and to change my or really ask for pardon? And on Yom Kippur, what is it that motivates me to do tshuva? What are these things? God is sitting in justice, right? That is the imagery, right? I am if I don't get pardon, I am done, right? That is the attitude we have, and we have to have, because we have to, sort of, Rambam says that we have to imagine ourselves to be a Benoni, to be a person who is neither a Sadiq nor a Rasha. So my one, if I will be able to move the scales, that is who I am. I am over there, and that is what I'm trying to do. Move the scales to get a pardon. Otherwise, I am going to get not only punishment but death. Right? That is where we should be imagining that I really don't have the capacity or the zechut, the merit to find life. Maybe because life is a chesed. Life is just Hashem has given us excess of it. Hashem, out of his chesed, out of his love, has just given it to us as a gift. But if I do something which is not in his line of thinking, in his pattern of thinking, why should he keep me alive, right? And that's why Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, I am praying that please give me life. When David is sitting in a cave with death in his face, it is exactly like Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, isn't it? Because that is what he is. All his sins have caught on with him. He says, I don't have any zechut to live. I am just dependent on Hashem, completely and totally. Correct? So that is how the Parshan is comparing these two lines. La'el Gomer Alai is Yom Kippur. And then it goes on to say, Leda Eze, Hashem. There is one goat which goes for God, which gets zechut, and the other one goes to Azazel. So Eze le Gezerah, one who is going for punishment. דבר אחר, and the second interpretation, אקרא לאלוהים עליון, is ליעקב אבינו. How come so? אקרא לאלוהים עליון. He is calling out to God, right? Give me the power to look into the future. I can tell my kids before I pass away what is going to happen, right? La'el gomer alai is that God completes his intention. And that's how the Midrash is saying that in terms of Yaakov Avinu, he got what he wanted and God revealed to him. So that is why we said that it is in contradiction to Rashi. We will go into the text of what is happening. I got only the few first ones to see what is what. First of all, when Ishaq, for example, right, gave the beracha to Yaakov, thinking that he was Esau, what was the beracha? Vayiten lecha Elohim mital hashamayim El Shaddai yevarechecha. Yeah. Then all these have a beginning which says that, oh, may God bless you, which is missing in here, right? And God called his sons and says, come together and I may tell you what is to befall you in the days to come. Assemble and hearken. Where is Hashem may bless you, Hashem may do that, Hashem may do this? Missing, right? So probably this is just information that Yaakov Avinu wants to tell them that they understand what their roles are. And it is not even a blessing. But later on you will see that when he comes to Yosef, when he comes to Yehuda, he really blesses them. Okay. But let's look at this. Assemble and hearken, O sons of Jacob, hearken to Israel your father. That is the second line or the first line of his discourse. Reuven, you are my firstborn. Bechoriata, kochi vereshit oni, my might and my first fruits of my vigor. Eter se'et ve'eter az, exceeding in rank and exceeding in honor. And then he says, Pachas kamayim al totar. He is just unstable as water, and he is not going to excel al totar. Ki alita mifte ve'avicha, because you mounted your father's bed. Az chilalta yetsu'e alam. You brought disgrace. My couch he mounted. Okay. So Yaakov Avinu is not basically blessing Reuven. He is saying that Reuven has the power, he has the command, he has the honor, exceeding in rank, exceeding in honor. But everything, because he is unstable as water, you shall no longer excel. Which means he doesn't give him the honor of being the firstborn, or the power of being the firstborn, right? He takes it away from Reuben. And he gives the reason because he feels that he mounted my bed. In fact, Chachamim said not to discuss what exactly happened because it is not mentioned in the Torah. The Torah decided to hide it, right? Whatever happened is only because Yaakov Avinu talks about it, we know. So what exactly happened, we are not aware, and we are not supposed to discuss it. But they say that, Reuben did not exactly have relations with Yaakov's concubine or whatever. It was just a way of saying it. He was trying to give honor to his own mother, and that is why he did whatever he did. Anyway, so Reuven, you see, there is no beracha. Is there a harita yamim over here? Do we see anything about the end of days? Anything about end of days in this
No,
first?
nothing.
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 So here
Nothing.
you have Rashi. Your Rashi winning out. Rashi knows there is no end of days for Reuven. Right? So here you have Shimon and Levi are a pair.
But
The
you can
deacons are
say he
tools of
gave him an
lawless.
advice. You can
What,
say
what?
that you can say that he gave him an advice.
He
I
does,
thought
yeah. But
he
that
gave
is
him advice
that
for
is
the
for
end of
sure.
days. So he'll correct himself until the end of days.
No. But he's giving advice to everybody, and then that can be interpreted that everything was for the end of days. But that's not how we play around with it. We understand. Is it giving information about end of days or not giving information about end of days? An end of days means there is a destiny, a prophecy, something that will happen in the future, which is revealed to him, right? That didn't happen, right? Everything else is towards the end of days. That is your right, but that is not what he called his kids for. I'm going to give you hints, what your talents are, or what advice I should give you, so that you that is not what he says clearly. Come, I'll tell you what happened in the end of days, right? Shimon and Levi, Achim. Shimon and Levi are a pair. Their weapons are tools of lawlessness. Kele Hamas mecherotehem. So Shimon Levi, if you will remember, these are the two guys who, of the four first children of Leah, Reuben was the first, Shimon and Levi are the second and third, and Leah's daughter Dinah was raped, and they took it in their power. They took it in their hands to exact a revenge on Shechem and killed the whole people by guide. They said that we will, you have to convert to Judaism. You all have to do a Brit Milah, and they were recuperating on the third day from their Brit, and they went and killed everybody. So Shimon and Levi are a pair. Their weapons are tools of lawlessness. Let not my person be included in their council. Let not my being be counted in their assembly. For when angry, they slay a man, and when pleased, they maim an ox. Cursed be their anger so fierce, and their wrath so relentless. I will divide them in Jacob, scatter them in Israel. Okay, is that a blessing? Doesn't look like one, is it? He is even using the word arur appa. The cursed be their anger, right? So is it a blessing?
No.
Doesn't look like, right? No. Does it anything to do with Acharit Hayamim?
They are scattered in all Israel.
Nice.
The end of them.
Who is scattered in all of Israel?
Shimon and Levi. Levi doesn't have a place.
Not Shimon, but Levi. Levi, we know Levi is the tribe of Levites. They didn't get a achuzah. They didn't get an inheritance like the other tribes. So what they got was that they had to go with other tribes and sort of scatter themselves all over Israel, so that all Israel had Levites who were the priests. So the Kohen is from the tribe of Levites. So the Levites and the Kohanim all scattered according to the 12 tribes, and each one went with the tribe they wanted and settled in that region, and that those tribes supported them, right? They were the Kohanim for those tribes, they were the Levites for those tribes, and they were scattered in Israel. So there you are. You have something about Acharit Hayamim. No, not necessarily, but you have something about the future. Yes. Now is the main question. So from Yaakov Avinu's perspective, what is Acharit Hayamim? That is the question we need to ask. When we talk about Acharit Hayamim, sitting 4,000 years from Yaakov Avinu, and we are still waiting for the Mashiach, and we want, the Mashiach should come. Is Yaakov Avinu imagining the same Mashiach? For Yaakov Avinu, what is Acharit Hayamim? Maybe over here, once you get into the land of Israel after 400 years in Egypt, which were cut down to 210, that is Acharit Hayamim for Yaakov Avinu. Once you go into Israel, that's it. You are going to set up a kingship. You are going to set up my temple. What I mean by my temple is, he promised Hashem that he will build a temple, if you all will remember, right? When he had the dream, right? I will come back and I will tithe and I will build a house. It was called Beth El, right? At this place called Beth El, I will build a house for you. He didn't build it. He is supposed to build it when we inherit the land. And the land is not inherited as yet. So when is it going to happen? It is going to happen Acharita Yamim. Correct? So Acharita Yamim from Yaakov Avinu's perspective could be once we get out of Egypt, go into Eretz Israel, set up a king and set up the Beth HaMikdash. Could be. And that's when especially the tribe of Levi gets their achuzah, their inheritance, or didn't get an inheritance, and they were scattered in Israel. So there you are. There is one very interesting Hasidic take on this, and it is a very deep understanding. In fact, that rabbi says, I forget the name of the rabbi, but the idea I remember. He is a Hasidic master. He says anger, right? How does anger work? Especially for somebody like Shimon and Levi. They are children who grew up in Yaakov's tent. They have Abraham Avinu personally as a role model. They have Yitzchak as a role model. They have interacted with Yitzchak, right? Yaakov Avinu, they have seen how he lived his life. These are, yes, there were problems, there were challenges, there was sort of a rivalry between their mothers and stuff like that. But their mothers were still sisters, right? All that said and done, these people, what is their problem? Cursed be their anger, right? So their anger is the problem. When does a person get angry? When does a person get angry? When do you get angry normally? If I ask you, when do you get angry?
When something has no limits, out of limit.
Can you rephrase that? What you
Or
want
when
to say?
something is going wrong, or something is wrong.
Yes, something is wrong and the person goes on and goes on. He can't stop and you can't tell him to stop. Then yes, sometimes yes, you lose your temper.
So you have as a teacher, we'll say, you are a teacher. So you have a student in your class and he keeps making this, I don't know, actions, or he has some,
Thanks.
he does something in the class.
Yes, something wrong
disturbing the
in
class.
the keeps on
So once he
doing
does once he does it, it is okay. Twice he does it, you can,
also okay.
25 times he keeps on doing it, right?
Yes.
Then you cannot deal with it and then you get angry, right?
Angry. Yes, Bacha.
So normally anger comes to you because somebody doesn't fit into your level of what is right or wrong. Maybe in his house, you think his mother must be getting angry because he is acting the same in his house. His mother must be getting angry? Not necessarily. She is probably used to it. She is probably not as much, disturbed by it, right? So when you expect or you have a higher expectation of others, right? You have a certain expectation that you should be quiet in class, right? Which his mother probably doesn't have in the house, right? So because you are doing a certain role, you have a higher expectation. And because of that higher expectation, you are bound to get angry because this guy is disturbing that reality. So if we bring this same thought, the rabbi is saying about Shimon and Levi, Levi especially, and Shimon also along with him, they are the ones who were selected for Avodat HaKodesh, for divine service, Levi especially. So what was his potential? You can just imagine. What was Levi's potential when he was selected? Moshe Rabbeinu comes from this family, right? That is what this potential is. These people, when there are others who are not of that same mark and cannot live up to that mark, and they get easily, because of this higher calling in them, because of this higher reality that they have, they in themselves live up to a higher reality. That's why they could not bear that anybody could pick up. They could not bear that anybody could just walk away with their sister. Way that it can go unpunished. They cannot say, no, let us get our sister married to a rapist. What nonsense. This guy cannot live. Because they themselves live to a higher principle. That is what that rabbi is saying. And that's why the anger is, for them, it was not because they were like stupid that they were going angry with everybody. They have a huge potential and they lived up to this potential. But when somebody else cannot live up to these potentials, they were irritated by it. Like you are irritated in your class because you're trying to do something higher, you're trying to teach, you're trying to explain, and there is someone in the last bench who will disturb the whole class, and you understand that his disturbing will take down the whole class. It will take time and energy and everything. So you have to get angry on them. Right? So that is why these Shimon and Levi were getting angry to begin with, because they really could not be at par with Am Israel. Am Israel are the other 10 tribes. Other 10 tribes, wherever they were holding, and Shimon and Levi, wherever they were holding, they were two different levels. And Yaakov Avinu, in fact, what is his solution to the problem? Yaakov Avinu says, I will scatter you in Am Israel. So by scattering, what Yaakov Avinu really achieves is that they will have some way of recognizing where these other tribes are. I live in my tribe, I live with my people, I live in myself. I don't understand the other, where that other person is coming from. And if I can allow myself to sort of stand in his shoes, then it is easier for me to relate with them. And that way my anger will not be as much as a problem, because now I understand where that other person is coming from. So that is what the Hasidic rabbi explained in explaining. Although we may think that this is a curse, but this is really a blessing according to him. This also is a blessing that they were scattered in Israel. For Levi, we know it is a blessing. The scattering in Israel made them Kohanim and Leviim, right? The teachers of Israel. And they were the ones who were responsible for teaching the Torah and bringing spirituality to the community. So, is this a Acharita Yamim thing? Probably. If Yaakov Avinu's Acharita Yamim thinking is, when we will set up the Bet HaMikdash, when we will set up the monarchy, yes, this is Acharita Yamim thinking. This is one, you will be scattered and you all will be all around. Although you have he doesn't curse them, he is cursing their anger. Your action is cursed, it is negative, right? Again, I would like to say that in Yaakov Avinu's, the question is, did Yaakov Avinu know, right, what happened to Yosef? How did Yosef end up in Egypt? What do you think? Did he know? No, probably not, because there is no way that Yaakov Avinu, in so much grief he was, that they will go and tell him in his grief, this is what we did. Couldn't be. The circumstances didn't allow them to do any kind of teshuvah over there, right? They would have lost their father if they would have said that. Or they would have lost their relationship with the father totally if they would have said that. So they didn't. So, I mean, from the stories of Genesis, from the way it has been portrayed, no. We even said that Yosef himself did not reveal it to, Yosef didn't want to go against his kids. That's why he never wrote a letter to his father that I am alive, I am here, please go come and get me. Right? He could have, at least in the initial stage when he's out of the prison and he becomes the monarch, he already recognizes that this is Hashem's setting for them to come into Egypt. So he doesn't write to his father, come and get me. And he waits for the opportunity when they will come to his court. And he knows Hashem is going to send them to his court. Right? So there is neither Yosef reveals, neither the brothers can reveal. So Yaakov Avinu doesn't know. But I will show you the way this poetry is written, right? First of all, Shimon veLevi achim kelech Hamas mecherotehem. Mecherotehem here is tools of lawlessness, but here also is the play on words that limkor in Hebrew is to sell, and it was their idea, really, because Reuben didn't want to kill him, and Judah decides to sell him, but they agree. They are elder to Judah, so it was Reuben was even not there when Judah says this, according to my last year or 2 years ago interpretation. Rashbam. Reuben was not even aware, because Reuben was expecting to bring him out of the pit, and he goes to bring him out and he is not there in the pit, right? So it is Yehuda's idea, and who are elder to Yehuda? Who have to say yes? Shimon and Levi. He has to just convince Shimon and Levi. Everybody else is his junior, no? Who he has to convince? Yehuda has to convince Shimon and Levi. So who sold Yosef? It was Shimon and Levi. So mecherotehem kelech Hamas. Hamas is violence, right? So this violent action of selling is hinted in the poetry. Then you will again come back and he says, and when pleased they maim an ox. But later on you will see ox is something, animal. Everybody is given some kind of animal symbolism. Ox, this symbolism is given to yourself. So he is just out of his nebuah, calling them out for what they have done, although he is not consciously aware. But you see the nebuah is at work. So saying that the Shekhinah is talek from him is probably not right, because you see there is because in a Navi, he necessarily doesn't understand what exactly is happening, but there are things, so many more things that he can handle, that he is focusing on, that are happening through him in his nebuah. And this is what I think one of the brilliant ways that we can see again and again. You will see that the sale of Yosef somehow is coming back when he is talking to these children. And I have not brought the other ones also, but maybe if we have time, let's see. And when pleased, they maim an ox. Okay. Now we come to Yehuda. Judah, ata yoducha achecha, yadcha ve'oref oivecha, ishtachavun lecha bnei avicha. So there is again a play of words. You see Yehuda, ata yoducha, yoducha, the word to thank or to praise. Yoducha achecha. They will accept you, they will praise you, right? And yadacha, coming from the same shoresh, from the same roots. Yud, daled anich, daled, yud daled. Yoducha, Yehuda, and yadacha. So you see that there is a divine interpretation, something happening, divine flow happening over here. You, O Judah, your brothers shall praise, your hand shall be on the nape of your foe, your father's son shall bow low to you. So here he is talking about David David when he comes to power. So it is Acharita Yamim, right? Your father's son shall bow down to you. This is the future prediction. A cub and a grown lion is Yehuda. Gur Aryeh Yehuda. Or lion's cub is Yehuda. However we see. Miteref bene alita. From the prey, my son, you withdrew. What is it talking about? From the prey you withdrew. You are just about to tear a prey, right? A lion. You have the power to tear it, finish it, but you didn't. From the prey, my son, you withdrew. He crouched, rested like a lion, and like a lion, who will arouse him? So he's giving him a blessing. You're like a lion. But he's putting there something over there, which is what is he saying? He's saying that you are about to kill yourself. You could have totally annihilated yourself, but you last minute you withdrew from the prey, right? That is what is happening here. The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, not the staff from between his feet. The student that's not a misprint. The staff from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him will be a gathering of people. So again, until Shiloh comes, Shiloh is in Shechem. The Shiloh was the first, or rather, this is what happens in Jewish history. They enter into the land as Shechem, and they set up Yoshua, who is from the tribe of Ephraim, who is from Yosef, sets up the temple in Shechem, near Shechem, between Har Gerizim and Har Ebal, right? And we have found Yoshua's, it was also in the news, his earliest, what is it called? The altar. So it was a dismantleable temple around the altar. So altar is still over there in Shechem, on Har Gerizim or Har Ebal. I think Gerizim. I'm not sure. One of them was for the Berachot, one was for curses, or maybe it's in the valley. There are a lot of, but we have something over there. Later on, when the temple, for whatever reason, it was moved to Shiloh, and that is what is until Shiloh comes. Until Shiloh comes is when it was moved to Shiloh, because it was taken out from probably the Ephraim tribal. Yosef gets Shechem, so it was their area. When the power moves to Yehuda, it comes to Shiloh probably. So until Shiloh comes, it's probably talking about the Beth HaMikdash, when it starts to become a Beth HaMikdash. Really, in David's time, or King Solomon makes it into a permanent temple. But till then, it was a semi-temporary dwelling, because once you come into Israel, it doesn't remain the tabernacle that it was, that wherever you went, you carried it, right? But they did carry it to the war. So it was still in a temporary state, but so that is Shiloh, probably, where it will find some permanence. So the first permanence is in Shiloh, and that is what Yaakov Avinu is.
Shiloh is not Ohel Moed? Shiloh is not Ohel Moed?
Shiloh had the Ohel Moed for some time. Yeah, that is where we have Hannah going up, no?
Yeah, to go into Shiloh. But Shiloh, as I know, the covenant that was taken from Bnei Eli, because they were.
That happens later. So till where is Yaakov Avinu's vision? Yaakov Avinu's vision is already into Moshe Rabbeinu bringing them back, and Yosef and Yoshua capturing the land. For him, that it could be the Acharita Yamim. You settled in the land. I am just waiting for you to get to the land and settle in the land and have permanence there. From my point of view, Acharita Yamim, I am looking at the Mashiach. I'm waiting for the Mashiach. But why would Yaakov Avinu think that we are going to miss it out at that point in Moshe Rabbeinu's time? He doesn't know that there are going to be 12 spies who are going to take them 40 years. He doesn't know that, or he does. I don't know. Does he know that
He knows the full
after
picture.
coming from Yoshua to David, there is going to be another 200, 300 years period till we capture the land? Does he, I mean, that is his, what is from Yosef, Yaakov Avinu's perspective? What is, see, it is like this. Adam missed out. We spoke about it. Noah missed out. Instead of Noah, Abraham Avinu is selected. But Abraham Avinu is given a prophecy of Britha ben Abetarim, that there will be 400 years till you really come back to Eretz Israel. And there will be 400 years of slavery, this, that. And he knows that. Yaakov Avinu is, in fact, that's why he's frightened to go into Egypt, because he knows this is a problem. This is going to be very bad for my kids. Right? So Hashem says, fear not. Now, after 400 years, he is looking into Acharita Yamim. After that 400-year period, what will happen? You will be able to get Eretz Israel. Once you get Eretz Israel and you build the temple, that is it. That is the sea. That is what we are waiting for. Now, after you build the temple, who is going to imagine that you just keep on growing spiritually? No, you should already have Mashiach after your King Solomon, and you should have been. But King Solomon's, after that, there is a faction. There is all that happens in Jewish history later on is unfortunate, but that is what happened. We took a route which was not probably expected or imagined by Yaakov Avinu. And then we are waiting for the Mashiach. So when we got kicked out of Eretz Israel, first temple was destroyed. We got the Nevuah that the second temple will be it. But when second temple was not it, right? Then we went back to Daniel and we said, oh, where is this? When is this happening? And then we figured out that Daniel is talking about, oh wow, Daniel is talking about years into the future. So whenever that is going to happen, that will happen, right? But that reveals itself when we get there. How can it be Yaakov Avinu already be thinking that we will be kicked out of Eretz Israel? Why will he think so? Why will he be, that is really the crux of the Midrash, and we will get there. But everybody with me till here?
Yes.
So we will come back to, okay, so there are other hints. I will keep it up to yourself, to Yehuda. But again, if you go ahead, you will see that there are hints over here. As we said, Yaakov Avinu is hinting to the sale of Yosef and talking about it in although he really doesn't know that they sold Yosef, it comes out in his Nevuah. He is talking about Acharita Yamim, not all the time, but here and there. He is certainly directing them towards what their potentialities are. That is for sure, right? So we have two opinions now. How do we reconcile them? There is one Midrash which says that he didn't have the Shekinah and his Shekinah hid itself, and that's why he was not able to tell them about Acharita Yamim, while the other Midrash is saying, no, for sure, Yaakov Avinu, he requested for this and he got it. Yeah? So how do we understand that? So the way I understand is really understanding, and we as Indians, in fact, will get the best understanding of this. Somebody who says, oh, I want to get my daughter married. Can you find out if their patrika can, match? Have you heard of it? In India, left, right, and center, you hear of this, right? Right. That they want to see if the horoscopes match. What? Who's going to make the marriage run. You know, the horoscopes of husband and the wife, right? How is the horoscope going to save the marriage, right? But they want to do that, right? Very much. The whole idea of looking into the future, it is from a place of a very deep insecurity about death. Really, it is a deep insecurity about how my life is going to turn out, how long am I going to live, how lot of these things motivate a person to look into the future, right? But future is future. If I can predict, and there is destiny, and there is fixed course, right? Then really, how can I get? I mean, the basic principle of Judaism is that you are free. When Hashem, Moshe Rabbeinu meets Hakadosh Baruch Hu at Mount Sinai the first time, he is given a task: go and get my people. Go tell Pharaoh that he has to leave, let my people go. So Moshe asks, "What's your name? Who shall I say has come to take you?" I will be that I will be. Tell them this is my name. What kind of name is it? I am that I will be. What kind of a name is this? But this is what God says. God says, I am that who remains free. I will be what will be. Future. What future will bring in, that is what I will be. That is what I am. I am already what the future. So I am the most free thing in the world. Totally free. Are you guys understanding? What will be is in terms of the name, right? I will be, or I am what I will be. Is I cannot tell you by defining that I am X. I just limited myself. I just stopped from the future from giving me a surprise, because I limited that I am X. God says I cannot tell you my name. My name is impossible to tell, because I am the most free thing that can possibly be. I am that will be. Go tell them, because at the eve of getting them out of Egypt to their freedom, he had to understand this is the God of freedom, right? So the Jewish gods, the Jewish understanding of Jews of their God is that he is the God of freedom. So how can there be destiny? How can there be a set course of Acharita Yamim? Can there be a set course? This is Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. He talks about it. There is, from the Jewish perspective, yes, there may be some patterns, there may be some directions, there may be some things, but nothing is fixed. The most, and you will tell me, I mean, teachers will tell you, some of the kids which were written off in their schools, they change the world, right? And some of the most brightest kids, they take things for granted, and they end up where as drug addicts or whatever, even commit suicide. You never know what the future holds for somebody. Is in that person's hand. He makes the future, right? So how can the Shekhinah tell Yaakov Avinu, I'm going to tell you the future? The future is not known. In fact, we believe that Hashem knows the future. That is true. But there is a very difficult Gemara which says that Hashem prays 3 times a day. I pray 3 times a day because I need to find hope, that I need to, thank God, that I need to request him for whatever. Why would Hashem pray? What is the need that God needs to pray? And that is what the Rahman is discussing. Come back again.
He prays for us. He gives our blessings to us. That is the way, means he prays.
That is not But that is blessing. But that is blessing. That is blessing. He is
Ah.
praying for something to happen. He is
Yes.
praying because
Something-
he hopes that
Yes.
we take the world in the
Yes.
line, in the direction. He prays that we do a good job. He
Yes.
prays because he is hoping against our tendencies that
Yeah.
we will do what is right for humanity to do. So Hashem is, what does it mean that Hashem is Hashem? He can control. Joshua, you have to do X, Y, Z, do it. Right? David, you are born for this, do it. Right? Does he do it? No.
No.
He is the most, Hashem, in fact, is so free that he gives freedom even more respect than Torah. The Torah, the blueprint of creation, where you have a direction, where you have a goal, where everything has to reach back into Gan Eden, right? Is set out. But that is secondary for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? What is primary? Primary is that Joshua Collett has the freedom to decide what he does. He cannot force me to go the way he wants. He has given me freedom. That is why he is the God of freedom. He cares for freedom so much because he himself is free and he has created you and me in his image. And that's why we are totally free. We can do whatever we want. If we are totally free, he has given us the right to do whatever we want. I can mess up my life. He won't even, there will be consequences because the way system works is there will be, but you'll go ahead, no problem. I don't have any issues, right? That is the beauty of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu has bestowed on us, how much love he has for us, right? And out of all that, we are expected to serve him. And when we serve him, because we do it out of our will and out of our decision and out of our freedom of choice, right? Only then we will be able to move this world towards the Acharita Yamim. So Acharita Yamim really is finally the course, but there is no blueprint towards it because freedom is an intrinsic value in the whole soup. If freedom is taken away, then there is Acharita Yamim. But if freedom is given to you, there is no way that the Shekinah can reveal to any Navi what it means. So from Yaakov Avinu's perspective, yes, Acharita Yamim is for 400 years and you are in Israel and you did it. That's it. Well, he expects his kids to be all tzaddikim and righteous. And after they set up the monarchy and the temple, why should anything go wrong? But we have free choice. We decided to take it wrong. We decided to worship idols. We decided to make bamot. We decided to do whatever comes to our heart. Why will he want to reveal all that pain to Yaakov Avinu? He doesn't want to. Otherwise, how difficult will it be for Yaakov Avinu to see the future like this? That my kids are all going to be sinners and they're going to be kicked out of it. No. For Yaakov Avinu, he sees the future. He sees Acharita Yamim on one hand, and he is revealing it to them. On the other hand, it is closed to him. And that's what Rashi means, that you can never know the future. So how can you tell the future? Because the future is up, because God himself doesn't see the future. He is whatever will happen. He doesn't control it. He doesn't in any way. Yes, he directs it. He is too humongous for us to understand how we can have a total free choice, and yet he directs the future. But that is the beauty of what it is, and that's why we have two midrashim which are contradictory. Because yes, there is Acharita Yamim, but yes, you can never know the Acharita Yamim. Yes, you can look into the horoscope and see, oh yes, I am going to have a Sadesati. But you can say, okay, Sadesati, no Sadesati, I am going to do my best. And then, I mean, you are not born in a vacuum, right? You have some system to be there. So there is a system, but it is not destiny. It is a system that you have to grow out of. It is a system where you have to break away from. It's a system that you have to win. And that is the beauty of it. And that's what Torah teaches us. That is what we have to reach our potential. And this all these barachot is about how these guys, 12 of them, were supposed to reach their potential and unify to create Am Yisrael. Okay? Hope I was able to bring some lofty ideas from the philosophy of Am Yisrael, from Israel, from these two contradictory midrashim, and show you some deeper perspective of how Am Yisrael thinks about these things. If you
Joshua,
have any questions, please.
Joshua,
Yeah.
this is Jeremiah.
Yeah. Bolo.
The same idea that Yaakov Avinu is telling his children about the challenges. In fact, I would like to call them potentials that he has selected in them that have to be channeled, right?
Yeah, that is what the example I gave you. Yes, anger in Shimon and Levi. That is exactly what I was trying to say. Yes.
Yeah. So the same thing will be true because the same challenges each one of us are facing. So our Acharit Hayamim is the same. You just take the same picture that Yaakov Avinu is saying after 400 years, and you put it after the second temple, and you put it after whenever the Mashiach is going to come. Same picture, because the same challenges we are facing and the same potentials we have. So the Torah,
I don't know if we have the same challenges, but at least the same emotional challenges, I would say.
yeah, things about emotional challenges, they have not changed in our world.
For example, the challenge that I have to tell my 16-year-old that enough of iPhone, that was not there for earlier parents.
Yeah, but somehow that challenge is, you can find out the words that will explain that he is a time waster or something in Yaakov's blessing to one of his sons. You are procrastinating, you are putting important things.
So you have the human. Yes, you have the human condition. It may be laziness, it may be anger, it may be jealousy, it may be whatever. All those. That's why I said the emotional baggage has to be worked out.
Challenges. What you are putting at 400 years story, and the temple and the coming back to Israel. And
I am saying more than 400. I am saying more than 400. They were about 1,000 years into the future, obviously, till
yeah, you can, but you can take the
till
Hezekiah,
till we lost the temple.
You continue with the same idea in our generation, and we come to those.
It is the same idea. You're right. No, it is the same idea. It is only that, and the point.
I would like to say something.
Sure.
From what you were talking about now, about the nevuah, about what Yaakov Avinu was saying to his children, and from what you have started from the beginning. So Yaakov Avinu, you said that יקרא אתכם באחרית הימים, ואחר כך יקבצו ושימו בני יעקב, and listen to your Israel, your father. Okay? The same thing we can say that, like, as if when Yaakov was asking for permission to tell the future, and he got the permission, and it started the shira that you have said, that come and gather up sons of Yaakov and listen to your Israel, your father. Like as if someone else is talking about
that is
children,
that is already a hint. That is already a hint when he talks about himself in the third person, that he is getting a nebuah.
Yeah. But also when it's like when he's asking for permission, also Avraham Avinu, when the three angels came and he told Hashem, don't pass over me, let me give them to eat and to do, because that's why they came, so I can do achnasat orchim. I can bring them in, make them food. So Hashem told him, okay, and he also opened their mouth so they can eat. Okay? Then we can see it also in Bilam. Ne'um hagever stum ha'ain, when he was saying the blessing that Hashem put in his mouth. So it starts also Ne'um Hashem hagever stum ha'ain. But then when you were talking about the Yaakov Avinu and the blessing and what he's saying and how could he give something from the future, but the fathers, our fathers didn't live the life like we are living it. We are living now in a material world that the material is getting over us, and we are trying to get over the material and to be connected to Hashem. But the fathers, they came out of the material world and they were all with Hashem. And Yaakov, and everyone is put in a base, yesodot. Okay, like Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak, everyone was doing his own tikkun, and Yaakov Avinu, and then Yosef. Yaakov, Yosef, because that's why you said Av Ben. Ken? Aben. Aben, that's what you say? Av Ben. And so, and when he was talking about the future and about they were looking for the whole picture. They didn't live the life to make for themselves and their children. They were making life to do the work of Hashem, and he was so disturbed for 17 years, you know, when Yosef was not with him, that he was so disturbed that maybe his work wasn't complete with Hashem. Maybe he missed something. Maybe what he did wasn't right. Until he knew that Yosef is alive, and the Shekhinah came back to him. Then he knew the whole story, and then he knew, okay, I'm on the right way, because he was putting also the basic for the future that we will have to go and continue and build over it.
Yeah.
This is how I see it. And when you said that Moshe Rabbeinu asked who, I will tell them, send me. And he said, Ehyeh asher ehyeh. Ehyeh, it means now I'm this, then I will be some other name, some will be other name. Because in each name, he makes work, he works with it. It has a power, some kind of a power. And there he say, you tell them, Ehyeh shelachani, he sent me, only Ehyeh. But Hashem, he did the work with the name that sometimes we call him Yud Ke Vav Ke, Shem Havaya, sometimes we call him God Elokim, and sometimes we call him names, other names. There are many names that he works through. So that's how Hashem is working. And the Avot, they didn't work, they didn't live for themselves. They lived only for Hashem and for the tikkun of Adam v'Chava, and to get to the goal that we
Regina,
will be a nation.
From what I said, is there any hint that tells you otherwise?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the whole.
You are saying it to, but you are saying it to prove that maybe in my words I said otherwise. Chas v'shalom. What you are saying is, I agree
I'm
with
just
all what
putting
you're saying.
together all what you have said in one picture, because maybe we don't understand. All of us,
I am sure everybody knows that our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, Yaakov, were on the level that you're saying. It goes without saying. I don't have to tell every time that Abraham Avinu, you know, he was Sadiq, Gamur. We know that, right? I assume that everybody, I myself, take it for granted that is where we are. That's why we say that wherever we have a discrepancy with that particular train of thought, that's when we have to explain it, right? So we have
Yeah.
a discrepancy with Shimon and Levi, that, oh, they were anger and were they cursed? So we have to reinterpret it, understand it, like the Hasidic master did, and said, no, they are on a plane where they have to channelize their perception of Am Yisrael, and that's why they were scattered on Israel. So that is normally how we have to learn Torah. We know there is no, I am sure in none of the participants there is any reason to underline the fact to say that Hashem, I mean, has any other but the power to control everything. There is no question that we understand that. That is, I mean, given. That we don't have to say, when I say that Ahaya Asher Ahaya means that I will be what I'll be, doesn't mean that it takes away from his power, that every time he has a different name or a different power. That is understood. But the reason he underlines the name for freedom in this particular instance is because he is the God of freedom, and that is what he wants Moshe to understand. So although he says that Eheye sent him later on, that is true. That is how he tells him, go and tell Paro that Eheye sent, or Am Yisrael, that Eheye sent me. But what the underlining message over there is, although he doesn't say again, Eheye Asher Eheye sent me, is because Moshe got the point that this is one who has sent me, the God of freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I underline it. It's not because that it is taking away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the other powers. Obviously not. That is chas v'shalom. That is not the way
No,
of
no,
thinking. In
that's not
fact,
what we
I
said.
wanted to just also pay. I mean, you reminded me of something. After all the berachot are over, all the discourse or this poetry is over, it says, Kol elle shifte Israel, shneim asar. All these were the tribes of Israel, 12 in number. Vezot asher diber lahem avihem. And this is what their father said to them. Vayvarech otam, and blessed them. Ish asher ke birchato, each one according to his blessing. Barech otam. 3 times it says barech otam. Afterwards, what does it mean? In the beracha, I see Shimon Levi didn't really get a beracha. Reuven for sure didn't get a beracha. There is one, right? There are guys who are getting a beracha. There are guys who are getting some information. There are guys who are really just getting a curse. We don't know. But after the whole incident, so whatever is brought in the Torah is a discourse about Acharit Hayamim. And then Yaakov Avinu went ahead and blessed each one according to the beracha that was coming to him. Okay, so that is something that I wanted to earlier say, but I forgot. So the Torah goes out to say, because I started off by saying, where is the beracha over here, or where is Yevarech Hashem over here? Where the Hashem is missing, because this was on a level where it was a discourse to sort of give them the basic lines of Acharita Yamim, which direction they have to take. But the Beracha came later, and the Beracha is not there in the Torah. The Beracha is just said that all the 12 tribes got Beracha from their father Yaakov, and they were blessed according to the blessings that were coming to them, and they were blessed. 3 times the word blessing is used. Anyway, thank you very much.
Just something
Lion.
that reminded me when you were talking about
Yes.
not knowing the future and this and that.